Pisces, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation from Born Without Boundaries. In this video, every single week, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and then how they impact your natal sun and what that means for your bottom line. All you need to enjoy this video is to know when your birth date is. Everything else, I will translate for you. I'm going to start off with the really big, broad stuff, the general energies in the air that we should all be aware of. And then I will focus into Pisces-specific information. And then I will finish off by breaking everything down into the decans, which is a group of 10 degrees that helps me understand how your natal sun is being impacted by all the correlating planets. You'll see that your natal suns, depending on where they're located in the zodiac sign of Pisces, are going to be impacted in very different ways. So let's get into the big stuff, Pisces, because there are extraordinarily big things happening this week. First and foremost, we have a new moon on the 17th. We also have something extraordinarily big happening between the 16th and 17th, and that is the shift in the lunar nodes. What does this mean? So around the same day that this new moon is happening in Cancer, in direct opposition to Pluto, which means broadening, opening, expanding, change, excessive and extreme, new beginnings, something we will not go back on or come back from, that is square to the nodes, and the nodes are shifting at the same time. The north node is shifting from Taurus into Aries, and the south node is shifting from Scorpio into Libra, which means our stream of consciousness, what matters to us, and even what we relate to is going to be shifting and changing. The lens, if you will, of which we see everything through, our focus and our modality is shifting, and it's all toggling or pivoting on that new moon in Cancer on the 17th, which is also, in addition to being opposite Pluto and square the nodes, sextile to Uranus, which means expressing and taking action and getting opportunities to share your uniqueness, your individuality, your cleverness, and your kookiness. This sense of really big surprises coming your way, or surprising people with what you're capable of, as well as a trine to Neptune, which is a very harmonious and faith-filled energy that says you are psychic, you are capable in intuition, and beyond the knowing or understanding, there is those extrasensory perceptions that come out most generally through creativity. So something brand new and amazing is being created, and I think it's the ego, this sense of who you are and how you matter to the world. So nothing lighthearted about that. We also have a pretty intense energy between Mars opposite Saturn, which creates a great deal of contention, restriction, like this sense of just not being able to move forward. And with Saturn being in a semi-square to Chiron, that could really impact how we feel about our self-worth, if we even feel like we're good enough. Why should I even bother trying? So this energy of the only way you can answer that with all these restrictions and no, is faith. I'm going to try it because I know I deserve it and I know I'm worth it, and I'm going to count on that miracle, which might actually happen in some ways this week. We do have still Venus conjunct to Mars, but that is actually waning, and by the 16th of this week it will wane. It will get a little bit more distant, but check this out. During the new moon and during the shift of the nodes, Jupiter is going to be square to Mercury, which just means too much information. TMI, that's what I wrote down. TMI, too much information coming out all at once, a huge dump load of consciousness, of awareness, of translation, of almost too much information, or speaking too fast, trying to talk too fast, trying to do too much. This sort of overload of sorts. And then we have Venus sextile to the north and sextile to the south node, and trine to the north node as all of this happens as well. So what is that? It's almost our sense of value, opening up and opening up opportunities for us, and our shift in value, allowing us to see opportunities where once we didn't see them. A great deal of fortune could come from that configuration. So let's get into the Pisces specific information. So once again, in case you guys didn't read the thumbnail or the title of this video, this is for the week of July 12th through the 18th of 2023. To see Pisces specific information, I like to focus on the zodiac sign of Pisces and what's happening in it, and then Pisces ruling dignitaries. The traditional ruler is Jupiter, and then the modern ruler is Neptune. And certainly discoveries of these modern rulers have really not been long enough in our consciousness to really cut out the traditional rulers. So I always follow Jupiter for you guys too, especially its spirituality, its spiritual path. So in Pisces, we have Saturn and Neptune, which we will have. This is gonna stay with us for the next 3 years, right? That's sort of like it stays for a while. Saturn is in retrograde. Neptune is in retrograde. Saturn is at 6 degrees of Pisces. Neptune is at 27 degrees of Pisces. Neptune is your ruling dignitary. It is your modern ruler. So when it comes to the first decan, you guys, your natal suns are conjunct to Saturn. When it comes to the third decan, your natal suns are conjunct to Neptune. We discuss that every week because it's not going to change. For Saturn will change for over the next year. By February, it'll go into the second decan of Pisces, but Neptune will not be changing for a couple of years. Just an FYI. So Neptune is sextile to Pluto for the next 13 years, which tells me there's some sort of dynamic expose or exposition of faith that is coming, a real opportunity to get more psychic and more magical and more creative, and to create from a place of newness and freshness, and almost the impossibilities become so much more real during this time. A real shift in our faith systems and our faith structures. This could also, in some ways, since Neptune rules the ocean and Pluto rules toxicity, have a lot to do with cleaning out the oceans or being able to clean them up or get to the bottom of and do something about all the toxicity that's been building up. It could also be game-changing information that starts to come out from the oceans. That's over the next 13 years. And so we also have a trine to the sun. Neptune is trine to the sun all week long. This is majorly creative energy, and creativity is coming just for the sake of creativity alone, and also being able to see and shine in this very inspired and heart-driven forms of creativity. We also have Neptune semi-square to Jupiter, which is your ruling dignitaries kind of rubbing each other, frustrating each other. It's almost like your creativity is broadening, it's expanding. It may feel like it's going a little bit too fast for you, but ultimately this is still a very kind of positive and expansive energy. Neptune is going to be trying the new moon. So there's a lot of spirituality surrounding this moon. There's a lot of empathy. There's a lot of compassion. There's also a lot of healing that comes from this new moon. We have Jupiter at 11 degrees Taurus. It is, like I said, semi-square to Neptune. And then square to Mercury by the 14th. So, or up by the 14th. So by the 14th of July, right before all these transitions start to happen and these major events start to happen, you have Jupiter squaring Mercury. So this is when the explosion and maybe uncomfortable challenge that comes to us by this release of information starts to come out that challenges our own sensibility, our own sense of self, our own sense of purpose on this planet. I don't know how big it's going to get, but I think this could be really huge energy, especially with what it's happening along with. Let's break things down into the decans. So the decans. If you know your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Pisces, you are a Pisces 1 because your sun is in the first decan of Pisces. This correlates to February Pisces. So Pisces who are born between, say, February 20th and February 29th or February 28th, whatever the year may be, but February 29th. So it could be between the 19th and the 29th, the first 10 days of Pisces season, and definitely February Pisces. Or definitely if you are on the cusp of Aquarius. It's you guys whose natal sun is conjunct to Saturn, which means growing up, a formidability to your character, like a seriousness, a sense of authority over oneself, being willing to mature and take responsibility, taking things more seriously, people taking you more seriously, which can be very good. But right now it is in opposition to Mars. So there's a lot of restlessness and a sense of I'm being restricted, or even in some ways, I don't want to be restricted, but everything that I need to work for me and to move forward hasn't been built yet. So it's just by nature going slowly, because the pathways to where I want to go, I have to blaze them. This can be very contentious energy. So this week, while these next couple of weeks through the 30th, watch your anger levels. Your frustration could easily pop off to anger, especially because of that semi-square to Chiron, where you're getting personally defensive and you're questioning your own sense of self-worth. That could create, this opposition to Mars could create greater potential for anxiety and depression. So self-care and patience are keys to your survival for the next couple of weeks. We also have a quincunx to the new moon. So a lot of frustrating, intense energy coming about the new moon, especially with regards to how you see yourself, or your shift in consciousness, or people shift in consciousness, and how it's sort of frustrating you, changing things for you. It will be a heightened new moon for you, and it will beg you to want something new, or welcome in something new, to make space. And it could be making space for something new that is really challenging you right now. If you are Pisces 2, your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Pisces. That correlates to anybody's birthday between March 1st and March 10th. That would be Pisces 2. Your natal suns are now sextile to Jupiter. It happened last week. This is an extremely helpful energy where you're just expanding and growing, and you have a lot of opportunities that you don't even ask for that will start to happen for you just because of this really lucky exchange. It's for the next 4 weeks too, so please enjoy it. This week there is some contention because your natal sun is hold on a second. Quincunx to Mercury, so just watch that. Quincunx to Mercury is just going to be for this week, but it means communications won't come in quickly. They'll be slow. It's almost like a frustrating kind of Mercury retrograde. It won't be anything really, it's not Mercury in retrograde, but it'll challenge communications, or how people understand you, or just information coming into you could really agitate you. So by the end of the week, you could get a lot of surprises when all this information starts to pour out. I have written down here, your natal suns are also semi-square to Pluto, which means that there is almost like a stubbornness in general when it comes to some sort of toxicity that you've held on to, or different kinds of emotions that you've repressed. This sense of really feeling the grind of them is because you need to release them, and that's over the next couple of years. When it comes to, so let's move on then to, I'm just trying to think when it comes to, no, I'm going to leave it there. Pisces 3. If you know your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Pisces, you are a Pisces 3. This usually correlates to birthdays between, say, the 11th and the 21st of March. Your natal suns are conjunct to Neptune. That is, it's dreaminess. It's your whole sense of self coming through dreams, intuition and psychic prowess, because your natal suns are also sextile to Pluto. So it's game-changing, occult, magical kind of finding those intuitions in those dark places, sensibilities that could really be expanding and broadening your sense of spirituality and faith over the next couple of years. You also have a sextile to Uranus, which means you are wanting to and looking to assert your independence and your individuality, and finding unique opportunities that actually surprise you or help make you realize that you have aspects of yourself that you haven't even tapped into yet. This week, your natal suns are trine all week long to the current sun, and that means they'll be trine to the new moon as well. So this is a sense of real healing and catharsis that could come through this energy of the new moon. Also, a sense of self, a sense of harmony with who you are, who you're going to be, what you realize about yourself, and not being afraid of letting everybody else see it. This is extra courage and vitality, and for the new moon, definitely manifest any kinds of trines or sextile to this new moon. It's like you have the space to welcome in this game-changing, life-changing new opportunity, especially new opportunity that comes from changing who you are and changing your sense of self, how people see you. And with the changing of the nodes, that could just be people's consciousness are more open to whatever you have to comment on or have been working on. There's almost like a click that comes into place around that new moon for you. You have a quincunx to Venus, which means that there could be, this is only for the week, but it could be just some tough, tense energy when it comes to money. Finances might not be easy to come by this week, or just they might be really frustrating you. This could also be tension within your romantic relationships, or what you desire and what you value, or how you let yourself be valued. It is not the best time to change your hair or make any aesthetic changes to your appearance or to your surroundings, but ultimately this will pass within the next week. But expect that there will be some frustrations around those aspects of your life. You are also quincunx to the south node. What does that mean? Frustration when it comes to your comfort zones. Things that you thought were comfort zones will now start to frustrate you. They'll start to feel like they're dragging you, or just this sense of they're meant to frustrate you to sort of stimulate your curiosities to what else you could be capable of, and what else, what other talents you have in you. Maybe something that that you've never looked at before, but different ways to apply your natural talents and skills. You let me know in the comments below how all this energy is impacting you, Pisces. You know I'd love to know. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Astrology Motivation so we grow over here. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card reading. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.